A wooden spear would pierce his neck. Without a murmur, he would fall at the feet of his murderers. His wife also had to die on the spot. Silently, the killers would bend over and sever the head from the torso. A long trading post knife would facilitate the work. In a few moments, the trophy, still warm and bleeding, would be swinging across the back of one of them as they ran along the trail leading to their home ground. They would hurry, and yet behind them, no chase would be in process of organization. The spear, bright with blood, would be tossed into the dense underbrush, an evil implement that no one must ever touch again. By forced march at first, and afterwards by quickening the speed of their paddles on the river, they would arrive at the spot chosen for the head shrinking ceremony. The place is propitious. In the depth of the high vegetation which springs up right at the water's edge, a clearing has been hacked away. The prow of a pirogue, drawn out onto the mud, sticks up above the bushes. The solid earth is trampled down, covered with ferns and wide leaves. A thin tree trunk is laid beside the 3 logs where the fire smolders. Upon landing, the killers are confronted by the elder of the community, 2 men and 2 women who have brought food, for the ritual spot is several hours' journey from the village. They have been waiting for them for many days now. From the moment of arrival, they all crowd around, taking care not to touch the killers, but animated with repressed delight. The head is slid down upon a leaf. The shrinking ceremony is about to begin. Using the sharp tips of sticks fashioned of black chanta wood, those who performed the murder notch the skin carefully below the ear, making an opening from there to the base of the neck. They can thus get hold of the skin and pull it upwards, That is, peel it toward the top of the skull. Pulling it off is rapid, and in its simple technique, rather like the skinning of a rabbit. The nose, ears, and eyes are the only obstacles, and the wooden points manage to cut the cartilage and pop the eyes out of their orbits. Junior Shurity Pakini. Let two Javaros get rid of the skin. The bloody slough is placed on the end of a spear. The bones of the face and skull are thrown into the river. That elder whose job it is to preserve the tradition fetches some water. Plunging his vessel into the water by the stream's edge, he utters the words, "I take the water of the boa." This is significant. The boa, as is well known, is the beneficent animal par excellence. This first recourse to its power is a proof of the strictly religious purpose of the practice of head shrinking. It is thus not a matter of obtaining a durable war souvenir, a witness to the Indians' courage and personal merit. During the ceremonies, as a result of certain rites, the enemy magician will be stripped of whatever harmful powers he still possesses. The Javaros believe that by reducing the size of the head, which is the dwelling place of the soul, by mummifying this part and sealing its lips, they imprison the supernatural powers within. In this way, they confer death in the most literal sense, a definitive death. The water begins to boil. Seizing the head, the elder summons the two murderers and has them place their right hands upon his. 3 times he dips the scalp into the vessel and hauls it out, before leaving it there to cook. I plunge the head into the boa water. "Au pay mio, the head must be boiled," replied the assistants. For 15 or 20 minutes, the Indians silently watch the water boil. Then, at a sign from the old man, they take the pot off the fire. The softened scalp, thus purified, is fished out with a stick and hung up on the end of a spear. That is all for the first day. The participants sit down on the ground to eat their dinner. Cassava and tiny fish cooked in envelopes made of leaves. At dawn on the second day, the tobacco ceremony begins. The elder chews tobacco leaves and dips them into a small calabash bowl. With his fingers, he squeezes and mashes them until he has a thick liquid. Raising the pot, he fills his mouth with this and goes over to the 2 killers and the 2 participants, the warriors. The latter turn their faces upwards and receive a stream of tobacco juice, which is spit violently up their nostrils. 4 times the rite is repeated. Its purpose is to protect those present against the still evil power of the trophy. Meanwhile, the sand is heaving slowly over the fire. The 2 warriors mark skeleton designs on their bodies with black paint. A wide stripe rounds off and joins the 2 occiputs, giving the clavicle a peculiar form. Then stripes, 5 on the chest and 5 along the back, travel down from this necklace to the top of the loincloth. 3 stripes mark the arm as far as the wrists. On the legs, from the knees to the ankles, there are 5 stripes finished off by an ankle band. The face is simply painted with 1 line, also black, which stretches the mouth out to the middle of the cheeks. Corpses themselves in the face of death, that is, beings which have passed from the earthly realm into that of the spirits, they set to work. Having brought the trophy down from the end of the spear, they wrap its hair with vines. Then, with the tips of the chanta sticks, the elder makes some eyelets along the base of the neck. Through these holes he passes a thread, whose purpose is to sustain a hoop of supple wood. The mouth is sewn in much the same way. 3 little arrows are put through the lips from below upward and fixed with thread. The participants sing, "Ao apeno." He is sewing. This is one of the most important parts of the ritual, the one which will reduce the enemy magician to utter silence from now on. The eyelids are also pierced and sewn together, and then the sand drying can be started. The sand is being heated in a hollow, round dish. Beside the fire is a flat stone, its smooth surface close to the flame. First the elder, then the two killers. Take a longitudinally halved gourd, dig it into the hot sand, filling it, and pour the contents through the neck opening into the head. Then, with a back and forth motion, they press it far in, so that the piping hot particles will reach the less accessible parts of the scalp. The sand is constantly changed. The hot flat stone, held with the aid of a leaf folded over several times, rubs the outside. The flesh with its dilated pores gives up all its fat and begins to dry. Sand and stone transform it, little by little, into a veritable leather, which goes on getting tougher and tougher. Wayayakum Tekambayel. I pour the sand, the Indians repeat ceaselessly until night falls. A brief meal allows them just time enough to gulp down the boiled fish the women have brought from the village. When the trophy is next stuck atop the spear, it is already tanned and shrunk almost to its definitive proportions. The technique at this point is worthy of the finest artisans. The hoop which held open the pocket of the neck is replaced several times by smaller ones. The head, firmly held by the hair and its casing of vines, is subjected to a massage. Thumbs rubbed with ashes push in upon the skin. The cheeks become hollow. The nose takes shape. Even the ears attain their original form. 2 days of this treatment, accompanied by continual changing of the hot sand inside, are enough to finish the work. 1/3 as large as a normal head, slightly more shrunken crosswise than up and down, with protuberant lips kept thus by the 3 arrows, with the eyelashes, brows, and hair marvelously intact. This is the Zanta. The evening of the last day, the head is hung again on a spear, and the dance of the concopi is held around it for a few minutes. Hand in hand, the elder and the 2 warriors circle about, chanting slowly, Concopi, Toau, Toau, in imitation of the cries of the forest animals, a supreme invocation to those beings who may possibly have picked up the spirit of the dead man. For safety's sake, they lower the head again, tie it up solidly, and pack leaves about it. It will remain hidden to everyone until the day of the final purification. The 2 participants get into the canoe then, and while the last night at the camping ground is still dark, they paddle quickly toward the village to announce the imminent arrival of the trophy.